Hey everybody, welcome to another video lesson. This is going to be a really fast video. I'm just going to give you one example of how to use Desmos to model a quadratic equation. Okay, so on the left screen it says the table shows the results of an experiment testing the maximum weights in tons supported by ice that is X inches thick. We want to write a function that models that data, and then we want to figure out how much weight can be supported by ice that is 22 inches thick. So two things we want to do. First, we want to write a function, and then we want to answer this question of how much weight can be supported by ice that's 22 inches thick. So first, let's write a function. We're going to use Desmos to help us do this, just like we did in the last chapter. So what I need to do first is I need to take all this data. I need to take all of this data from this table on the left side of the screen and put it in a table in Desmos. So I'm going to go hit this plus button. I'm going to get my table just like before. And I'm going to put all these data points in. So I have 12, 14, 15, 18, 20, 24, and 27. There's all my x's and my y's. 3.4, 7.6, 10, 18.3, 25, 40.6, and 54.3. Okay, so here's all my data points. All right. Next, again, I am going to come down to my second line, and I want to do a quadratic regression at this point. So before it was a linear regression or a linear model, now we're going to do a quadratic model because these numbers are getting really big really fast. Doesn't look like it's going to be a linear model. Quadratic might be a better move for us. Okay. So in order to do a quadratic model, we're going to type the standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c, with a couple of little twists here and there, just like we did with linear functions. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to type y1, and I'm going to get that tilde, the squiggly line up in the top left-hand corner. And I'm going to type ax1, and then I need to make sure that's squared. Okay, so if you don't know how to type a squared, you can hit Shift 6. And that puts you in exponent mode. Type it 2, so it's ax1 squared. And then I'm going to hit the arrow key to the right. Okay, just arrow key to the right there to get me out of exponent mode. Plus bx1. So notice how if I ever have a variable, I put that 1 after it. Plus c. ax squared plus bx plus c with those Desmos twists, right? 1's after the variables and a squiggly line instead of an equal sign. And now I've got a parabola to model my data points. And I have an a value, a b value, and a c value. A value, b value, and a c value. Okay, so my equation, we can write it. We can write it here on our screen. Our equation is going to look like this. Y equals whatever my a value was, which is about 0.0998. 0.0998. I'm rounding it a little bit. X squared plus my b term, which is negative 0.498. We'll round that. Negative 0.498. So since it's negative, it's going to be minus 0.498x. And my c term, which is minus 5.007. So minus 5.007. So notice how I'm just pulling all those numbers from the a, the b, and the c that Desmos gave me. So here's my equation to model this data. All right, that's the equation that models the data. Next, it wants us to answer how much weight can be supported by ice that is 22 inches thick. Well, thickness is an x value, right? It's for the x variable in this case is ice thickness. So what I'm going to do is say, hey, what if x is 22? What happens when x is 22? I'm going to take x and I'm going to take 22 and plug it in for x in every part of my equation. So there's a couple different ways you could do this. You could put it into the equation, and you'd have to write it like this. It would look like y equals 0.0998 times 22 squared minus 0.498 times 22 minus 5.007. You could just put that all in your calculator, right? Just do a lot of calculator work to see what you get there. That is one way to do it. Or if you still have Desmos up, we can get kind of creative here and we can say, hey, what happens when x equals 22? Okay, I just went one line down and I typed x equals 22, and that gives me a line at 22 on the x-axis. The point where these two things cross, that is going to be the y value of my function when x equals 22. So it's just a little shortcut if you're still using Desmos. So I'm going to take that y value, which is 32.36. And I'm going to say, if I had done all this calculator work, put that all in my calculator and crunched all those numbers, I would have ended up getting 32.36. Right there, 32.36. So what does that mean for me? That means that ice that is 22 inches thick can support a weight of 32.36 tons, which is a lot of weight. I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's a lot of weight. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you for sticking with me, and we will see you guys next.